if you're using ceramic tile and you want to use a tile breaker, like the one we showed you, you don't need to go out and spend the 120 bucks on this kind of tile breaker. It does work nicer, for sure. It has a nicer base and all those other things we talk about, the bearings inside. But the way to fix that is buy your $20 tile breaker, spray on some WD-40 or other lubricant on here, which allows it to slide easier. And this was a bit ago that I did this, and it still works nice. And then go and buy another wheel. Probably can't really see that. Another wheel for here, because the wheel that it comes with is generally cheaper. So you just go and buy like a $15 wheel and put that on to replace the cheap one that was on there, and voila, you now have a tile breaker that works pretty close to the $120 tile for about a third to a quarter of the cost. Just a tip for that, just a reminder about that. I know we talked about it, but I wanted to make sure you remembered that. Now we're getting into cutting tile. If you want to cut any tile, your angle grinder will work great. It's really powerful. Use your safety equipment. Works really well. Just put a diamond blade on it, and in most cases you flip the tile upside down and cut the back side. Just keep scoring it until it breaks through. And this is a great little tool to have. You can do circles. You can do pretty much anything. Works really, really well to cut tile. And here is a wet tile saw. Now this is a $60 wet tile saw. Anywhere around that range will do you fine most applications. Ceramic tile, it cuts through no problem. Porcelain, it has a bit more trouble, especially when you get into the thicker one like I showed you. When you get into the thicker porcelains, these cheaper ones can really start to bog down, and it has a hard time. If you notice that, if you have one of these and you're just like, it's just not, you're pushing slow, the tile through slow, but it's just really bogging down, that it might be good to either go and rent, or if you know you're going to be doing this a lot more, or buying a higher end one. And actually we're going to stop the camera real soon, and I'm going to show you my $600 tile saw that I use now, and it works great. But obviously the higher up you get, it's a lot bigger and so a lot less portable. So this is great for portability, whereas the other one's good for doing a lot of different applications. So we're going to stop now, and I'll bring that in for you. Alright, so here we are. This is my my pride and joy. It's this particular tile saw is about 600 bucks. And I actually got it for doing a job for someone, and it was a gift, a thank you gift, so I was pretty happy about that. I did not start off with a tool like this. I started off on a cheaper tile saw than the wet tile saw than the one I showed you. It was it was a special one anyways, but it did the job, and it came out well. You don't need the high-end tools to start. When you get into the more fancy stuff and get into it, start doing it more, and it might be worthwhile to buy, but don't go out and spend this kind of money at the start unless you're 100% positive that you're wanting to jump into it. Best way to do it is, if you really want to get into the higher end tools, rent. Go to your home building store and say, I want to rent a wet tile saw. They'll give you something like this for a fraction of the cost. And if you're going to be keeping it for a long time though, if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be having it for, say, 2 weeks, even a week and a half starts to push it. Once you get up to that point, and you're going to have it that long, then yeah, it's probably worth it to spend a little bit more and buy this as opposed to renting that whole time, because it can almost cost you the same amount for renting as buying when you get into those kind of numbers and times and stuff. The difference between the other one and this one, with the other cheaper one, is you put the tile on top and you push the tile through. With this, it makes it a whole lot easier. You put the tile here, it's got a nice base to rest it on, and you push this forward. Now obviously you don't stand to the side like this and you're not leaning on it, but this is the general idea. So you push it through and the blade cuts on top of it. There's jets that spray down, so you're not getting soaked like you do with the other one. And this tray holds all your water, and the water keeps circulating in and out, very easy to drain, that kind of thing. Not the most easy to get around this tile saw. It's very heavy, takes 2 people minimum to carry it around, but works great, and once you get to this point, it's really nice to have something like that. So that's the higher end saw, and like I said, you can use it if you want to rent, but if you're really serious, you can go ahead and buy. But they can get quite expensive. You can get into thousands. This one works well, and that's my toy.